एक ओंकार सतनाम करता पुरख निर्भव निर्वैर अकाल.
Aurangzeb tried many times to convert Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji. However, he failed each time. He then decided to put Guruji in a small cage with spikes with only room to sit. 3 Sikhs had travelled with Guruji from Anandpur Sahib to Delhi by Mati Das Ji, by Sati Das Ji and by Dayala Ji. To scare Guruji, the 3 Sikhs were ordered to be killed in front of Guruji. They were asked first to convert and receive money and luxuries of the world, to which they all refused. At Chandni Chowk, Delhi, in front of a large crowd, and Guruji, by Mati Das Ji, was ordered to be sawn alive. Their last wish to be facing their beloved Guru. Bhai Sati Das Ji was ordered to be wrapped in cotton wool and be burnt alive, also wanting to face Guruji. And Bhai Dayala Ji was ordered to be boiled alive, with their last wish for Guruji to place their hand on their head. All three, making the ultimate sacrifice, left this world with the eternal blessings of Sri Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji.
Iconic Bollywood star Dharmendra has died.
Dubbed the original He-Man of Bollywood, the actor was one of India's cinema's most popular stars whose versatile performances helped him rise to fame in the 1970s and 80s. The actor had been in and out of hospital in recent weeks. Prime Minister Narendra Modi offered his condolences, saying the actor's death marks the end of an era in Indian cinema. Dharmendra was 89 years old.
A worldly example that comes to my mind. I met this young Singhani. This is still so fresh in my mind. Her wedding had been arranged. This is an example of Jagat Bakari Firate Sabko Data Ram, that you don't have to be that beggar. That just because you're entwined in a situation, but by the blessings of being in the Sangat of great Gurmukhs, by being in a Sangat, that male can be washed off of you. And you can just find yourself in the slipstream of the Sangat are already flowing in that river, and the whole of the world, which is the riverbank, will have no sway over you. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the wedding had been sort of arranged but not fixed, if that makes sense. That sort of grey period in between when weddings are being fixed but they haven't quite been firmed up. But she'd made all sorts of plans and she was completely fixated on how this was going to roll out. And she was so attached to this person that it was a form of attachment that was only going to lead to pain, whether the marriage went forward or not, because she was basically making this person more than he was. And when you outsource all of that power to somebody else, you don't have the control to make the decisions that bring you closer to the Guru. And what happened to this poor girl, the rishta, it gets broken off. And she can't eat, she can't sleep. She's completely consumed with, oh my God, what am I going to do now? This is the only way I could see my life going forward. In a way, she's a beggar to this situation, right? She's like, how can I possibly see this? And I remember meeting her. I said, well, what are you going to do? And her family had a history of going to Nanaksar Gurdwara in Samrala Chowk, Ludhiana. That was where her family would spend a lot of time doing Sangat of Baba Jaswant Singh Ji, a great saint of the Panth who's left this world physically, though Gurmukhs still have their darshan to this day. She says, I'm going to go and see Babaji, a great Gurmukh, and in the Sangat there, I'm hoping I'll get some answers. Maybe Babaji will do ardas, they'll fix the situation, they'll give you some guidance. I was like, okay, look, I hope it all works out for you. I saw her like several months later and I said, did you get your answer? Did Babaji explain to you why it wasn't in your interest? Did you get what it is that you were looking for to solve the problem? And she's looking at me confused. And I'm like, you know, the situation with that rishta? She goes, oh, that. When I landed there and I went to Ludhiana, I went to the Gurughar and I started doing seva, I forgot all about it. I forgot to ask them about it. I just spent 2 weeks doing seva. And I just realized, hey, life's chilling, man. Vi jagat bakhari firte sabko data ram. Everything I need is here. Sabko data ram. Because I woke up Amrit Vela. I spent time with the Gurmukhs that were there. The mama taught me how to do prashad and seva. But she realized that she was going to beg for something in this world from the giver of all gifts. The company of the Guru, the company of the Sadh Sangat, the company of the Mahapurukh. And in so arriving there, she's already realized she's got the greatest gift. What is there to ask for? If you're in the house of Gurmukhs, if you're doing seva of Mahapurukh, if you're blessed to be in the Sangat of Amrit Wala Gurmukhs that are going to be vibrating upon the name of Vaheguru. She said, I was so embarrassed when I reflected on what brought me there, I couldn't ask the question. I thought that was such a wonderful sikya that sometimes when you're in the company of sangat and you're talking about, you can learn the most profound teachings. Before you do any ardas, if you just reframe your position, you're going to the Gurughar. Whoa, you're before Maharaj. Whoa, everything's all right. Whatever it is you're asking for, you can still ask for it. I'm not saying that you can't ask, but that thing which has had a power over you before you walk beneath the Nishan Sahib, you should find that if you realize where you're standing with your hands together as you're bowing before Maharaj, actually that thing doesn't have the power over me that I thought it did. And that's the power of walking into the Darbar. That's the power of our Nishan Sahib. That's the power of walking in behind the Sangat and taking a breath and going, yo, I'm actually where I need to be anyway. Everything's been reframed. And I'm just speaking to myself here when I say this. Bhai Harmeet Singh, you say that, but when we walk into the Darbar, did you say thank you? As I walked in today, as I made my Radhasa before Maharaj, of all of the things that I've got a grip on me outside, just by coming inside, that grip is loosened. The grip of Maya over me is loosened. And who can deny it? If you close your eyes, if you've got the courage to just close your eyes for a moment, just try and put yourself in the problems that were with you 25 minutes ago. You'll realize whatever it was over you 25 minutes ago, it's like, whoa, what is that?
What I'm about to share isn't a sick story, it's a human one. You probably heard about the concept of freedom of religion. It's a fascinating idea that anyone from any background should be able to practice what they believe in. And any sane person would probably say this is a fundamental right of humanity. But believe it or not, this has not always been the norm. Some of the saddest moments of human history have been on the backbone of intolerance. Intolerance of belief, intolerance of faith, intolerance of ideas. Even today, we see it in politics, in current events, even in religion. Not everyone's views are welcomed and celebrated. There are many whom we consider the early architects of religious tolerance and freedom. For example, individuals like Thomas Jefferson or John Locke. And besides them all having some epic hairstyles, one thing in common is that they were all from the Western world. We know this concept of tolerance and freedom of faith exists in the other half of the world as well. So who introduced this concept there? Freedom of religion in the Eastern world was pioneered by the Gurus. It may be surprising, but the Gurus championed religious diversity and the right to choose one's faith on both a social and political level. Among them, the 9th Guru is especially remembered for embodying this principle through his ultimate sacrifice. In 1675, Hindu leaders turned to Guru Tegh Bahadur for protection after Mughal India outlawed their right to practice their own faith. The authorities had commanded that every Hindu must convert to Islam or be crushed by the sword. The Guru rose against this injustice, calling it a crime to force one's beliefs on another. He challenged the empire, and for that bravery, he was publicly executed in the capital of India. His sacrifice remains sacred, not only to Sikhs, but to millions across the Eastern world. It was a stand that was spiritual as much as it was political. The story of 1675 isn't just Sikh history, it's human history. Because intolerance didn't end with Mughal India. It lives wherever fear divides and power controls. And courage didn't end with Guru Tegh Bahadur. It lives in every person who refuses to be silent when others are dehumanized. The stand Guru Tegh Bahadur took was to help create the world Guru Nanak had dreamed of. A world without fear or hatred, where every soul could walk their path in freedom. If you haven't yet, watch the beautiful world Guru Nanak dreamed of to get a deeper insight to this powerful message of the Gurus. This year, we celebrate 350 years of Guru Tegh Bahadur Ji's timeless gift to humanity, the freedom to live and worship without fear. I hope you will join me this year as we celebrate the contributions of the Guru to all. Thank you for watching, and I wish you all a very joyous Gurpurab celebration.
Stop praying and start praising. Start appreciating this very moment, because that's what Naam really means. Realizing the joy that's available to you right now. So try this challenge. Notice how many times in your day your mind is trying to want something more. Your mind is never satisfied and is trying to improve the situation slightly. And as soon as you catch yourself, let go of that desire and allow yourself to experience the bliss of everything that is there in that moment. Because happiness doesn't come from wanting or having more. True happiness comes from taking time to appreciate all that you have right now. Any meditation which is about gaining an experience is not real meditation. This is what we're beginning to understand. It's not about just gaining some profound experience. Doesn't matter how life-changing that experience is. Gaining an experience, there's still a me. You're still focusing on the created, not the creator. You're not looking behind. You're not looking at the bigger picture. So if you're practicing meditation, rather than waiting for something to happen, what you should be looking for is the letting go of the self, dropping the self. And this is where this technique of singing, bhakti, divine praises, where you're so focused on that totality that you lose yourself into it. It's where the wave spends all of its attention understanding that it is the ocean. It's not the wave trying to find the ocean, trying to see the ocean. The wave has to just become the ocean. In the same way, you're not trying to find an experience because that's still limited. Real meditation is about letting go of yourself into the song of life. Check your phone. Yeah? Kiss your phone goodnight. Right? You do that. We all do it. Right? You have to understand that these things are like being made addictive. Like the phone companies, they know, let's keep people hooked on this stuff. Right? And you can go into the science of it. And what you're really doing is you're looking for a dopamine hit. Dopamine is a pleasure chemical, a happy chemical they call it. And when you receive a message, what you're receiving is a little hit that says, I'm still important. You're addicted to a drug being released by your own mind.
Some of the most miserable people in the world are actually the billionaires, because they spent their whole life chasing after material things, and then in the end they realize, I'm still not satisfied, because they never learned how to be satisfied inside. Spirituality is teaching you that if you keep running after financial well-being, at some point you might even achieve all that stuff, but you haven't really fulfilled your heart.
ਜਦੋਂ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਨੂੰ ਤਾਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਦੇਵ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਇੱਕ ਨਗਰ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹੁੰਚੇ ਆ। ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਨਗਰ ਦੇ ਬਾਹਰ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਡੇਰਾ ਲਾਇਆ। ਉੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਦਰਖਤ ਸੀ, ਉਹਦੇ ਹੇਠਾਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਆਪਣਾ ਆਸਣ ਕਰ ਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਰਬਾਬ ਵਜਾਓ, ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕਰੀਏ। ਹੁਣ ਜਦੋਂ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਰਬਾਬ ਵਜਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ, ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਇੰਨੇ ਸਮੇਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੀ ਹੋਇਆ, ਉੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਆਜੜੀ ਆ ਗਿਆ। ਉਹ ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਬੱਕਰੀਆਂ ਚਾਰਦਾ ਪਿਆ ਸੀ। ਜਦੋਂ ਉਹਨੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ ਦੋ ਮੁਸਾਫਰ ਆ, ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗਾ ਇਹ ਪਰਦੇਸੀ ਨੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਪਹਿਰਾਵਾ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਚੇਨ ਚੱਕਰ ਦੱਸਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਇੱਥੋਂ ਦੇ ਰਹਿਣ ਵਾਲੇ ਨਹੀਂ। ਉਹਨੇ ਦੋ ਪਰਦੇਸੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਚਿਹਰੇ ਤੱਕੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਜਾਣਿਆ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਆਮ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗੇ, ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਲੱਗਦੇ ਆ। ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਧੂ ਜਨ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਚਿਹਰੇ ਤੇ ਬੜਾ ਨੂਰ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਖੁਦ ਖੁਦਾ ਆਪ ਨਾਰਾਇਣ ਕਲਾ ਧਾਰ ਜਗ ਮਹਿ ਪਰਵਰਿਓ। ਇਹ ਤਾਂ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੀਗੇ ਖੁਦ। ਤਾਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਾ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਕੋਈ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖ ਨੇ। ਉਹਦੇ ਹਿਰਦੇ 'ਚ ਦਇਆ ਆ ਗਈ। ਦਇਆ ਆਈ, ਸੋਚਣ ਲੱਗਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨੀ ਚਾਹੀਦੀ ਹੈ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਮੈਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਜੇ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਹਾਂ, ਮਨ ਇੱਛੇ ਫਲ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ। ਆਜੜੀ ਦੇ ਮਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਦਇਆ ਆਈ ਹੈ। ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੇ ਕੀ ਕੀਤਾ, ਆਪਣੀਆਂ ਬੱਕਰੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਦੁੱਧ ਚੋਇਆ, ਦੁੱਧ ਇੱਕ ਬਰਤਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਾ ਲਿਆ ਤੇ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਚਰਨਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਰੱਖ ਦਿੱਤਾ ਹੈ। ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕੀਤੀ ਆਜੜੀ ਨੇ ਹੱਥ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ, ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗਾ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਇਹ ਦੁੱਧ ਨੂੰ ਅੰਗੀਕਾਰ ਕਰ ਲਓ। ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਦੇ ਬੱਧੇ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ। ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੂੰ ਦੁਨਿਆਵੀ ਕੋਈ ਕਿਸੇ ਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਇੱਛਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਤਾਂ ਜੋ ਕੇਵਲ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਦੇ ਬੱਧੇ ਆ, ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਵੇਖਦੇ ਆ। ਫਿਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਆਜੜੀ ਵੱਲ ਤੱਕਿਆ ਤੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਕੋਲ ਇੱਥੇ ਬੈਠ ਜਾਓ ਜੀ। ਤੇ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਦੁੱਧ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ ਹੈ ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਨੂੰ ਛਕ ਲਓ। ਹੁਣ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਭੁੱਖ ਲੱਗੀ ਸੀ, ਤਾਂ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਤੁਰੰਤ ਹੀ ਦੁੱਧ ਨੂੰ ਛਕ ਲਿਆ। ਤੇ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਉਹ ਆਜੜੀ ਨੂੰ ਬਚਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਨੇ, ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਦੱਸੋ ਜੀ, ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਚੀਜ਼ ਸੀ, ਕਿਸ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਸੇਵਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਪ੍ਰੇਰਨਾ ਦਿੱਤੀ ਆ, ਕਿਹੜੀ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹ ਦੁੱਧ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਏ ਹੋ। ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗਾ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਮੈਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਗਰੀਬ ਹਾਂ, ਮੇਰੇ ਕੋਲ ਪੈਸਾ ਹੈ ਨਹੀਂ, ਬਸ ਜੋ ਹੈ ਆਹ ਦੇਖੋ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਬੱਕਰੀਆਂ ਹੀ ਆ, ਇਹੀ ਮੇਰਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਝ ਆ। ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਸੁਣਿਆ ਸੀ ਕਿਸੇ ਵੱਡਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ, ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਤੋਂ, ਵੀ ਜੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਾਧੂਆਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰੀਏ ਮਨ ਇੱਛੇ ਫਲ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ। ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਭਾਈ ਤੂੰ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕੀ ਆ। ਉਹ ਆਜੜੀ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗਾ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਮੇਰੇ ਹਿਰਦੇ ਦੀ ਇਹ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਹੈ ਵੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਥਾਂ ਦਾ ਰਾਜ ਮਿਲ ਜੇ, ਇਹ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦਾ ਸਾਰਾ ਰਾਜਾ ਮੈਂ ਬਣ ਜਾਵਾਂ। ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਸੋਚਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ ਕਿ ਇੱਕ ਬੱਕਰੀਆਂ ਚਰਾਉਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਰਾਜਾ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਬਣ ਸਕਦਾ। ਆਪਾਂ ਤਾਂ ਇਹੀ ਕਹਾਂਗੇ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਬੱਕਰੀਆਂ ਚਰਾਉਣ ਵਾਲਾ ਮਿਲ ਜੇ, ਕਹਿ ਦੇਵੇ ਮੈਂ ਪ੍ਰਧਾਨ ਮੰਤਰੀ ਬਣਨਾ, ਆਪਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਯਕੀਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਆਉਣਾ। ਹੁਣ ਦੇਖੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਸੋਚੀਏ ਵੀ ਗਰੀਬ ਬੰਦਾ ਰਾਜਾ ਕਿਵੇਂ ਬਣ ਜੂਗਾ, ਪਰ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਸ਼ਬਦ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਭੇਖਾਰੀ ਤੇ ਰਾਜ ਕਰਾਵੇ ਰਾਜਾ ਤੇ ਭੇਖਾਰੀ, ਖਲ ਮੂਰਖ ਤੇ ਪੰਡਤ ਕਰਬੋ ਪੰਡਤ ਤੇ ਮੁਗਤਾਰੀ। ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਚਾਹਵੇ, ਭਗਤ ਸਾਹਿਬਾਨ ਵੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਮੰਗਤੇ ਨੂੰ ਰਾਜਾ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹ ਤੋਂ ਰਾਜ ਕਰਵਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਤੇ ਰਾਜੇ ਨੂੰ ਭੀਖ ਮੰਗਣ ਲਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਜੇ ਉਹ ਚਾਹਵੇ ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਕਿਸੇ ਮੂਰਖ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਦਵਾਨ ਤੇ ਵਿਦਵਾਨ ਨੂੰ ਮੂਰਖ ਬਣਾ ਦਿੰਦਾ, ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਸ਼ੰਕਾ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ। ਤਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਆਜੜੀ ਦੇ ਦਿਲ ਦੀ ਰੀਝ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ, ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ ਜੋ ਤੂੰ ਫੁਰਨਾ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਨਾ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੂੰ ਦੁੱਧ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ ਤੇ ਤੇਰੀ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਜੇ ਇਹ ਹੈ ਨਾ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਰਾਜਾ ਬਣਨਾ, ਇਹ ਵੀ ਪੂਰੀ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇਗੀ। ਆਜੜੀ ਬੜਾ ਭੋਲਾ ਸੀ ਤੇ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਗੱਲ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਣੀ, ਰੱਬ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਹੀ ਭੋਲੇ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ। ਚਲਾਕ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੇ ਨੇੜੇ ਰੱਬ ਆ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦਾ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਕਦੇ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਰ ਦੀ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤੀ ਹੋ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸਕਦੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੰਕਾਰ ਆ ਤੇ ਚਲਾਕੀ ਆ ਇਹ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੀ ਬੋਲ ਤੇ ਤੋਰ ਦੋਨੋਂ ਬਦਲ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ। ਹੰਕਾਰ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੀ ਚਾਲ ਬਦਲ ਦਿੰਦਾ, ਦੇਖਿਓ ਕਦੇ ਹੰਕਾਰੀ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ। ਉਹ 'ਚ ਨਿਮਰਤਾ ਸੀ, ਹੁਣ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ, ਇਹ ਬੱਕਰੀਆਂ ਚਾਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੇ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਦੁੱਧ ਛਕਾਇਆ। ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇਹਦਾ ਦੁੱਧ ਛਕਿਆ, ਹੁਣ ਇਹ ਬੱਕਰੀਆਂ ਚਾਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਨੂੰ ਵਰ ਦਿਓ। ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਦਾ ਸੁਭਾਅ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਹਮੇਸ਼ਾ ਆਪਣੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਦੀ ਵਡਿਆਈ ਕਰਵਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ। ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਤਾਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, ਮਰਦਾਨਿਆਂ, ਇਹ ਆਜੜੀ ਨੂੰ ਵਰ ਦੇ ਹੁਣ। ਪਰ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਲੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਆ, ਇੱਦਾਂ ਦੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਹੈ। ਫਿਰ ਜਦੋਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਆਖਿਆ ਵੀ ਹੁਕਮ ਆ ਸਾਡਾ, ਉਦੋਂ ਫਿਰ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਆਜੜੀ ਨੂੰ 3 ਬਚਨ ਕੀਤੇ ਸੀਗੇ। ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, 3 ਬਚਨ ਬੜੇ ਧਿਆਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਣਨਾ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ 3 ਬਚਨ ਆ ਉਹ ਆਜੜੀ ਨੂੰ ਰਾਜਾ ਬਣਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਅਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰੀਏ ਇਹ 3 ਬਚਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਜ਼ਰੂਰ ਧਾਰਨ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਨਗੇ। ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, ਆਜੜੀ ਨੂੰ ਸੁਣ ਭਾਈ, ਜੇ ਤੂੰ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ 3 ਗੱਲਾਂ ਮੰਨ ਲਵੇਂਗਾ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਰਾਜ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ, ਤੂੰ ਰਾਜਾ ਬਣ ਜਾਵੇਂਗਾ। 3 ਗੱਲਾਂ ਮੰਨਣੀਆਂ ਪੈਣਗੀਆਂ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਕੁਝ ਪਾਉਣ ਲਈ ਕੁਝ ਕਰਨਾ ਪੈਂਦਾ। ਉਹ ਆਜੜੀ ਨੇ ਹੱਥ ਜੋੜੇ ਆ, ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਧਿਆਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੁਣ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਬਚਨ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਪਹਿਲਾ ਬਚਨ ਸਾਡਾ ਸਦਾ ਹੀ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖੀ, ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੁਝ ਵੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਵੇ ਕਦੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਕੇਸਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਟਵਾਉਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ, ਸਾਬਤ ਸੂਰਤ ਹੋ ਕੇ ਰਹਿਣਾ, ਕੇਸਾਂ ਦੀ ਬੇਅਦਬੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀ, ਕੇਸਾਂ ਦਾ ਸਤਿਕਾਰ ਕਰਨਾ। ਦੂਜਾ ਬਚਨ ਕੀਤਾ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰਾਤ ਦਾ ਚੌਥਾ ਪਹਿਰਾ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਵੇਲਾ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਸੰਭਾਲਣਾ ਹੈ, ਉੱਠ ਕੇ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਰ ਦਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣਾ। ਤੀਜਾ ਬਚਨ ਜੋ ਸੀ ਵੀ, ਜੋ ਸਾਧੂ ਸੰਤ ਕੋਈ ਆ ਜਾਵੇ ਨਗਰੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਚੱਲ ਕੇ, ਜਿਵੇਂ ਤੂੰ ਅੱਜ ਸੇਵਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਆ ਇਵੇਂ ਕਰਦਾ ਰਹੀਂ। ਕੀਮਤੀ ਬਚਨ ਆ, ਕੇਸ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਟਾਉਣੇ। ਪਹਿਲਾ ਬਚਨ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਵੇਲੇ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣਾ, ਦੂਜਾ ਬਚਨ। ਤੀਜਾ ਸਾਧੂ ਸੰਤਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨੀ। ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਭਗਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ, ਨਾਮ ਜਪਦਾ, ਉਹਦਾ ਘਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੈ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਭਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ, ਬਰਕਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਬਰਕਤਾਂ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ। ਤੇ ਸਭ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਡੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਹੈ ਕਿਸੇ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਣ ਵਾਲੀ ਰੂਹ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨੀ। ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਵੱਡੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਮੰਨੀ ਜਾਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੇ ਵੀ ਇਹ ਸੇਵਾ ਕੀਤੀ ਹੈ ਉਹ ਜਾਣਦੇ ਆ ਵੀ ਕਿੱਡੀ ਵੱਡੀ ਸੇਵਾ, ਤੇ ਇਹਦਾ ਮੇਵਾ ਵੀ ਵੱਡਾ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਹੈ। ਕੇਸ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਮੋਹਰ ਨੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਟਵਾ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਤੋਂ ਓਹਲੇ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ। ਇਹ ਕੇਸ ਰੱਖਣੇ ਚਾਹੀਦੇ ਆ। 3 ਬਚਨ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਆਖੇ ਸੀਗੇ, ਤੇ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਉਹ ਬਚਨ ਫਿਰ ਦੇ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਆਜੜੀ ਨੂੰ। ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ, ਪੁਰਖਾ, ਜੇ ਤੂੰ ਇਹ ਬਚਨ ਮੰਨੇਗਾ ਤੂੰ ਰਾਜਾ ਬਣ ਜਾਏਗਾ। ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਹੁਣ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਰਾਜੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਤਾਂ ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਦੁਖੀ ਹੋ ਜਾਣ। ਸਗਲ ਸ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਟ ਕੋ ਰਾਜਾ ਦੁਖੀਆ, ਹਰ ਕਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਪਤ ਹੋਏ ਸੁਖੀਆ। ਹੋ ਸਕਦਾ ਬਾਦਸ਼ਾਹ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਵੇ, ਕਿਸੇ ਰਿਆਸਤ ਦਾ ਦੁਖੀ ਹੋਵੇ, ਪਰ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਸਿੱਖ ਹੈ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰੱਜ ਗਿਆ ਉਹ ਰਾਜਾ ਹੈ। ਰਾਜੇ ਤੋਂ ਭਾਵ ਉਹ ਸਬਰ ਆ ਗਿਆ, ਉਹ ਫਿਰ ਕਦੇ ਦੁਖੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਐਸਾ ਰਾਜਾ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਬਣਾਇਆ ਸੀ ਫਿਰ ਇਹ ਆਜੜੀ ਨੂੰ। ਹੁਣ ਗੁਰੂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਕੋਲ ਉੱਥੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਇੱਕ ਆਜੜੀ ਆਇਆ, ਉਸ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਅਦ ਇੱਕ ਜਲਾਹਾ ਵੀ ਆਇਆ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਕਿ ਕੱਪੜੇ ਬੁਣਨ ਦਾ ਕਾਰਜ ਕਰਦਾ ਸੀ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਦੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਨ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਉਹ ਆਜੜੀ ਵਾਂਗ ਖਾਲੀ ਹੱਥ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਆਇਆ। ਉਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਸੁੰਦਰ ਗਲੀਚਾ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ ਤੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੂੰ ਆਖਿਆ, ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗਾ, ਜੀ ਇਹ ਗਲੀਚਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਸਨ ਹੇਠਾਂ ਵਿਛਾ ਲਓ। ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨ ਤੇ ਬੈਠਣਾ ਆਪ ਜੀ ਜੈਸੇ ਮਹਾਂਪੁਰਖਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸ਼ੋਭਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਦਿੰਦਾ। ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ, ਸਾਡਾ ਆਸਣ ਤਾਂ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਹੈ, ਸਾਰੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਹੀ ਗਲੀਚਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗਲੀਚਾ ਹੈ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਵਿਛਿਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਇਹ ਸਾਰੀ ਧਰਤੀ ਗਲੀਚਾ ਹੀ ਆ ਨਾ, ਇਹ ਨਰੋਆ ਰਹਿੰਦਾ, ਨਾਲੇ ਕਦੇ ਪੁਰਾਣਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ, ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਸਾਰੇ ਸੰਸਾਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ। ਬਾਬੇ ਤਾਰੇ 4 ਚੱਕ, 9 ਖੰਡ ਪ੍ਰਿਥਵੀ ਸੱਚਾ ਢੋਆ, ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਕਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਪ੍ਰਗਟ ਹੋਆ। ਹੁਣ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦੂਰ ਦੂਰ ਜਾਂਦੇ ਆ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ, ਤੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਦੇ ਦਰਖਤਾਂ ਥੱਲੇ, ਕਦੇ ਜੰਗਲਾਂ ਵਿੱਚ ਡੇਰਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ, ਕਦੇ ਕਦੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੰਗੇ ਪੈਰੀਂ ਚੱਲਦੇ ਆ। ਕਿਤੇ ਕਿਤੇ ਇਤਿਹਾਸ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਖੜਾਵਾਂ ਪੈਂਦੀਆਂ ਨੇ, ਨਹੀਂ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੰਗੇ ਪੈਰੀਂ ਯਾਤਰਾ ਕਰਦੇ। ਇਹ ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਦਾ ਪ੍ਰੇਮ ਹੈ। ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੁਖੀ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਾਮ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਹੁਣ ਜਲਾਹਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਉਹਦਾ ਗਲੀਚਾ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਹੋ ਜੇ। ਕੋਈ ਸ਼ਰਧਾ ਨਾਲ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਚੀਜ਼ ਭੇਟ ਕਰਨ ਜਾਈਏ, ਜੇ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਹੀ ਨਾ ਕਰੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਵਾਲਾ ਫਿਰ ਸਾਡੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦੀ। ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਤੂੰ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਭਾਈ ਇਹ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ ਹੋ ਜੇ? ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਖੜਾ ਵੇਖ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗਾ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਬਿਲਕੁਲ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ। ਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਇਸ਼ਾਰਾ ਕੀਤਾ, ਕਹਿਣ ਲੱਗੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਦੇਖੋ ਜੀ। ਉਹਨੇ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਦੇਖਿਆ, ਕੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਆਇਆ? ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਇੱਕ ਕੂਕਰ, ਇੱਕ ਕੁੱਤੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਹਮਣੇ ਬੈਠੀ ਆ, ਉਹ ਸੂਈ ਹੋਈ ਹੈ। ਠੰਡ ਦਾ ਮੌਸਮ ਕਰਕੇ ਉਹਦਾ ਸਰੀਰ ਕੰਬ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨੂੰ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਿਆਦਾ ਠੰਡ ਲੱਗ ਰਹੀ ਹੈ, ਤੇ ਇਸ ਕਰਕੇ ਆਖਿਆ ਇਹ ਗਲੀਚਾ ਤੂੰ ਸਾਡੇ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ, ਇਹ ਗਲੀਚਾ ਇਉਂ ਕਰ, ਉਹ ਜੋ ਕੰਬ ਰਹੀ ਕੁੱਤੀ ਆ ਉਹਦੇ ਉੱਪਰ ਪਾ ਦੇ, ਤੇ ਇੱਕ ਹੋਰ ਕੰਮ ਕਰੀ, ਇਹ ਕੁੱਤੀ ਨੂੰ ਨਾ ਨਿੱਤ ਤੂੰ ਚੂਰੀ ਲਿਆ ਕੇ ਖਵਾਇਆ ਕਰ। ਸੱਚੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਜਦੋਂ ਤੂੰ ਇਹਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰੇਂਗਾ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਚੂਰੀ ਖਵਾਏਂਗਾ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਰੋਟੀ ਪਾਏਂਗਾ, ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਰੱਬ ਦੇ ਜੀ ਨੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਸ ਦੇਣਗੇ, ਇਹ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਅਸੀਸ ਦੇਵੇਗੀ, ਉਹ ਅਸੀਸ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗੇਗੀ, ਤੇਰਾ ਗਲੀਚਾ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ, ਤੇਰੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਵੀ ਪ੍ਰਵਾਨ। ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਇਹ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਇਹ ਬੇਜ਼ੁਬਾਨ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਬੇਜ਼ੁਬਾਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੁੰਦੇ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਭਾਸ਼ਾ ਕੋਈ ਹੋਰ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਮਝ ਨਹੀਂ ਲੱਗਦੀ। ਗੁਰਮੁਖ ਪਿਆਰਿਓ, ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਇਹ ਜੁਲਾਹਾ ਹੈ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਾਰੀ ਗੱਲ ਸਮਝ ਆ ਗਈ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਦਇਆ ਦੀ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਲਿਆਉਣ ਲਈ ਕਹਿ ਰਹੇ ਆ। ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਵੀ ਇੱਕ ਉਹ ਸੇਵਾ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਰ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ। ਹੁਣ ਜਦੋਂ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਕੋਲੋਂ ਆਗਿਆ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਉਹ ਜਲਾਹੇ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਦੇ ਆ, ਤੂੰ ਸੱਚ ਦੱਸੀ, ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੂੰ ਗਲੀਚਾ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਆਇਆ, ਤੇਰੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਕੋਈ ਇੱਛਾ ਹੈ? ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆਜੜੀ ਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਸੀਗਾ, ਆਜੜੀ ਨੇ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਸੀ, ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਮੈਂ ਧਰਤੀ ਦੇਸ਼ ਦਾ ਰਾਜਾ ਬਣਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ, ਆਹ ਇਲਾਕੇ ਦਾ। ਭਾਈ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਭਾਈ ਤੂੰ ਕਿਹੜੀ ਭਾਵਨਾ ਨਾਲ ਲਿਆਇਆ ਗਲੀਚਾ, ਵੀ ਤੇਰੇ ਮਨ ਵਿੱਚ ਕੋਈ ਇੱਛਾ ਹੈ? ਉਹ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਜੀ ਅਸਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਨਾ ਗੱਲ ਇਹ ਆ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਘਰ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੁੱਤਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈਗਾ, ਮੇਰੇ ਘਰੇ ਕੋਈ ਔਲਾਦ ਦਾ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਸੁੱਖ ਨਹੀਂ, ਮੇਰੀ ਇੱਛਾ ਇਹ ਆ ਵੀ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਤਰ ਦੀ ਦਾਤ ਮਿਲ ਜੇ। ਜਲਾਹੇ ਨੇ ਆਪਦੇ ਦਿਲ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਦੱਸੀ ਆ। ਹੁਣ ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦਾ ਬਚਨ ਉਹਨੇ ਮੰਨਿਆ, ਸੂਈ ਹੋਈ ਕੁੱਤੀ ਤੇ ਸੋਹਣਾ ਜਿਹਾ ਗਲੀਚਾ ਪਾ ਦਿੱਤਾ। ਰੋਜ਼ ਆਉਂਦਾ ਸੀ, ਚੂਰੀ ਖਵਾਉਂਦਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ। ਤੇ ਇਹ ਦਰਵੇਸ਼ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਫਲ ਕੀ ਮਿਲਿਆ? ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੀ ਐਸੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹੋਈ, ਭਾਈ ਮਰਦਾਨਾ ਜੀ ਦੀ ਐਸੀ ਰਹਿਮਤ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਇੱਕ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਹੈ, ਗੁਰਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਅੰਦਰ ਸਤਿਗੁਰ ਵਰਤ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਮਹਾਰਾਜ ਨੇ ਆਖਿਆ ਸੀ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਜਿਵੇਂ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰੇਂਗਾ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਮਿਲ ਜਾਵੇਗਾ। ਸਮਾਂ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਘਰੇ ਪੁੱਤਰ ਨੇ ਜਨਮ ਲਿਆ। ਜਿਹੜਾ ਆਜੜੀ ਸੀ ਸਮਾਂ ਪੈਣ ਤੇ ਨਗਰ ਦਾ ਰਾਜਾ ਬਣ ਗਿਆ, ਕਿਉਂਕਿ ਉਹ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਰਾਜਾ ਸੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਵਾਲਾ ਉਹ ਮਰ ਗਿਆ। ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਸੋਚਿਆ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੀ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੇ ਰਾਜੇ ਬਣੇ ਆ, ਰਾਜਕੁਮਾਰੀ ਬਣਦੇ ਰਹੇ ਆ, ਆਪਾਂ ਕਿਸੇ ਗਰੀਬ ਨੂੰ ਰਾਜਾ ਬਣਾ ਦਈਏ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਗਰੀਬ ਦਾ ਦਰਦ ਸਮਝ ਸਕੇ। ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੇ ਸਮਝੀ ਗੱਲ, ਇਹ ਆਜੜੀ ਨੂੰ ਭਲਾ ਪੁਰਸ਼ ਜਾਣ ਕੇ ਰਾਜਾ ਨਿਯੁਕਤ ਕਰਤਾ। ਫੁਰਨੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਆ ਬਣਦੇ ਆ, ਮਿਟਦੇ ਆ, ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰੇ ਸਭ ਕੁਝ ਹੋ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ। ਸੋ ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦਾ ਫਰਮਾਨ, ਭਿਖਾਰੀ ਤੇ ਰਾਜ ਕਰਾਵੇ, ਰਾਜਾ ਤੇ ਭਿਖਾਰੀ, ਇਹ ਬਚਨ ਸੱਚ ਹੋ ਗਏ। ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਜੇ ਚਾਹਵੇ ਕਿਸੇ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਰਾਜਾ ਬਣਾ ਸਕਦਾ ਹੈ ਜੀ। ਗੱਲ ਬਚਨ ਕਮਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਆ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ। ਤੇ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਬਚਨ ਯਾਦ ਰੱਖਣਾ, ਚਿੱਤੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਸਭ ਕੋ ਵੇਖ ਨਦਰੀ ਹੇਠ ਚਲਾਏਂਦਾ। ਰੱਬ ਹਰ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਦੇ ਧਿਆਨ 'ਚ ਰੱਖਦਾ, ਹਰੇਕ ਤੇ ਉਹਦੀ ਨਜ਼ਰ ਹੈ। ਆਪੇ ਦੇ ਵਡਿਆਈਆਂ, ਆਪੇ ਹੀ ਕਰਮ ਕਰਾਏਂਦਾ। ਜੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਡਿਆਈ ਵੀ ਬਖਸ਼ਦਾ, ਆਪ ਹੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੰਮ ਚਲਾਉਂਦਾ। ਵੱਡੋ ਵੱਡਾ ਵੱਡ ਮੇਦਨੀ, ਸਿਰੇ ਸਿਰ ਧੰਦੇ ਲਾਏਂਦਾ। ਸਿਰੇ ਸਿਰ ਧੰਦੇ ਲਾਏਂਦਾ, ਉਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਿਸ਼ਾਲ ਹੈ, ਉਹਦੀ ਸ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਟੀ ਬੇਅੰਤ ਹੈ। ਹਰੇਕ ਜੀ ਨੂੰ ਉਹਨੇ ਧੰਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਾਇਆ ਹੋਇਆ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਨਦਰਿਓ ਪੱਠੀ ਜੇ ਕਰੇ, ਸੁਲਤਾਨਾ ਕਾਹਾ ਕਰਾਏਂਦਾ। ਜੇ ਕਦੇ ਦੁਨੀਆ ਦੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹਾਂ ਉੱਤੇ ਕਰੋਪ ਦ੍ਰਿਸ਼ਟੀ ਧਾਰ ਲੈ ਨਾ, ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ, ਬਾਦਸ਼ਾਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਘਾਹ ਦੇ ਤੀਲੇ ਵਾਂਗੂ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਇਹ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਪਰਮੇਸ਼ਰ ਕੱਖੋਂ ਹੌਲੇ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦਾ ਹੈ। ਦਰ ਮੰਗਣ ਭਿੱਖ ਨਾ ਪਾਏਂਦਾ, ਉਹ ਦਰ ਤੇ ਜਾ ਕੇ ਸਵਾਲ ਪਾਉਂਦੇ, ਅੱਗੋਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕੋਈ ਖੈਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਪਾਉਂਦਾ। ਜਿੰਨੇ ਮਰਜ਼ੀ ਮੰਗ ਤੇ ਬਣੇ ਫਿਰਨ, ਫੇਰ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਿਤੋਂ ਖੈਰ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ। ਪਰ ਹਾਂ, ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਦਰਵੇਸ਼ਾਂ ਦੀ ਦਇਆ ਕਰਕੇ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰੇ, ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਬਹੁਤ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰ ਦਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਜੀ। ਤੇ ਕਈ ਵਾਰੀ ਆਪਾਂ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ ਕਿ ਕੁੱਤੇ ਨੂੰ ਰੋਟੀ ਪਾਉਣ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਕੀ ਹੁੰਦਾ? ਭਾਈ ਦੇਖੋ, ਪਾਉਣ ਨਾ ਪਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਨਹੀਂ, ਗੱਲ ਸਾਰੀ ਦਇਆ ਦੀ ਆ। ਦਾਨ ਦੇਣਾ ਹੱਥਾਂ ਦਾ ਗੁਣ ਨਹੀਂ, ਦਿਲ ਦਾ ਗੁਣ ਹੁੰਦਾ। ਇਹ ਦਇਆ ਦੀ, ਇੱਥੋਂ ਬੰਦੇ ਦੀ ਪਛਾਣ ਹੁੰਦੀ, ਇਨਸਾਨੀਅਤ ਦੀ। ਗੁਣ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ, ਦਇਆ ਪੈਦਾ ਹੁੰਦੀ। ਜਿੰਨੀ ਦਇਆ ਹੋਊਗੀ ਉਨਾ ਧਰਮ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਜਿੰਨਾ ਧਰਮ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਉਨਾ ਸਬਰ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਜਿੰਨਾ ਸਬਰ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਉਨਾ ਰੱਜ ਹੋਊਗਾ, ਜਿੰਨਾ ਰੱਜ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਉਨਾ ਰਾਜਾ ਹੋਊਗਾ ਬੰਦਾ। ਗੱਲ ਤਾਂ ਇਹੀ ਆ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਿਧਾਂਤ ਬੜੇ ਸੁੰਦਰ ਦਿੱਤੇ ਆ ਜੀ। ਗੱਲ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਬਚਨ ਕਮਾਉਣ ਦੀ ਹੈ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਨ, ਆਏ ਪ੍ਰਭ ਸਰਣਾਗਤੀ। ਇਹ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਬਚਨ ਆ ਨਾ, ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਪ੍ਰਾਪਤ ਹੁੰਦੇ ਆ। ਤੇ ਜੇ ਇੱਕ ਅੱਖਰ ਵੀ ਸਾਡੇ ਅੰਦਰ ਵਸ ਜਾਵੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਦੀ ਸ਼ਰਨੀ ਆ ਕੇ, ਤੇ ਗੁਰਮੁਖੋ ਸਾਡੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਬਦਲ ਸਕਦੀ ਹੈ। ਲੋੜ ਹੈ ਇਹਨਾਂ ਬਚਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਮਾਉਣ ਦੀ। ਜਿਵੇਂ ਆਜੜੀ ਨੇ ਬਚਨ ਕਮਾਏ, ਜਲਾਹੇ ਨੇ ਬਚਨ ਕਮਾਏ, ਕੀ ਮਿਲਿਆ? ਸੁੱਖ ਮਿਲਿਆ। ਜਿਨ੍ਹਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਮਿਲਦਾ, ਗੁਰੂ ਦੇ ਬਚਨ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਮਾਉਂਦੇ। ਗੁਰੂ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਜੀ ਕਿਰਪਾ ਕਰਕੇ ਬਖਸ਼ ਲੈਣ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ।
I see every day people with this mentality that the world owes them something.
The simple answer here is that you need to work harder and faster. There's really nothing else.
Life is a series of choices. At that moment, that choice was, quite honestly, hard work.
Put your head down and do the training and take the pain, and eventually it's going to pay off. And on those days where you just got to get through an impossible to-do list, you really have to feel that if you put your head down and you take the pain, it's going to pay off.
And since I'm going to do this, I'm going to harness my will. And I'm not going to let anything stop me. I deserve this.
Hard work is the most precious asset you have.
You know, while the other guy's sleeping, I'm working. While the other guy's eating, I'm working.
But it don't work if you don't work.
I found that nothing in life is worthwhile unless you take risks. Nothing.
There is no in between. You're either growing or you are decaying.
If you want something, you have got to be relentless. This is a winner's quality. You have that quality within you. When you're hungry, you don't care about the facts. You don't care about the odds.
If you want to be an anomaly, you've got to act like one.
Why are you only giving 50%? What's wrong with you?
You said your goal was to pass every class. You said your goal was to never again finish last.
Most people, what they're doing is they're all at this mountain called success, and they're all strolling around the bottom of this mountain, and they're looking for an elevator to carry them to the top. See, they haven't realised yet that there is no elevator, and I'm already halfway up the stairs.
I'm not getting up on time. I'm not going to work on time. I'm not putting in 120% when I'm at work. I let me down.
All right, if you work hard and you never give up, you can literally achieve anything.
Break it down and add just a little more effort. Add just a little more focus. Add just a little more time management. Add just a little more patience. Add just a little more studying. Add just a little more listening. Add just a little more discipline.
To get something you never had, you have to do something you never did.
There are two fixed points in your life: birth and death. And what happens in between, that's under your control. It's the only thing under your control. Now, we have no idea what the distance between birth and death is going to be. And you've heard the story so many times. Somebody gets really bad news. They find out they've got life-threatening cancer. They've only got a few months to live. They quit their job, sell all their possessions, and go volunteering in a far-off country, giving back to other people, spending time with the people important to them, and spending time doing the things that really matter the most. So why is it that we wait for such a massive moment for us to take massive action. What if you could change everything today? What if you could change everything in an instant, right now, watching this video on YouTube, on your phone or your laptop, or wherever you are? What if change could happen?
I don't care how good you are, I don't care how talented you are, I don't care how much you work on yourself. There are some times when things aren't going to go right. They just are not going to go right. There are times when anything that can happen will happen. Murphy's Law will be knocking at your door. Why? I don't know why. That's called life. And you have to deal with it. Sometimes your life will be in a slump, just like sports. Some of the best shooters can't hit baskets different times in games. They get in a slump. Do they sit on the sideline and say, I just didn't hit a basket today? No, they continue to execute. I suggest to you that if you are facing a challenge, don't stop. Stay busy, work your plan. Continue to do those things that you know that work for you after you have evaluated yourself in the situation. Continue to move, stay busy, stay busy, stay busy. Repeat out to me, help somebody. And help yourself. Because what you give is what you get. Find somebody that you can help so you can forget about you for a moment. See, sometimes the best thing to do is to be. Sometimes you have to just back up and go within yourself.
If you're going to really change, the first thing that you have to move from an opinion to a belief, and a belief into a conviction, is that you are the one that can change. You are the one that is responsible for who you are, where you are in life right now, the things that you do, the things that you don't do, that you know that you should, the things that you have become, the person that you've become, and as a result, the things that you have. And there's all kinds of things going on right now. There's all kinds of thoughts going on right now. There's all kinds of feeling, but amidst all of those things, amidst the sea of confusion that you might feel, let me ask you a very simple question, a very basic question. Do you believe that you have the power to change?
Time is all we have. This moment, right now.
There's only one thing in our lives that we're never able to reacquire once it's gone. And I'm not talking about money, I'm not talking about material items, I'm talking about time. And it's such a unique concept, unique idea, because when utilized correctly, it contains the ingredients to success, to happiness, to growth, prosperity, all the things we want. But at the very same time, if neglected, it leaves us with very little. Because the truth is, every morning when you wake up, you are living minutes you will never get back. You are breathing air you will never take in again. It is your one opportunity to embrace this gift, and every second sees a little of it slip away. And my point is that there is no moment more important, more perfect than right now. Not in a week, not after your promotion, not in 30 years when you plan to retire and relax. Right now. See, we have this mentality that the future's going to somehow mean more than the present. That if we suffer now, or if we're unhappy now, that we'll save the best in life for some other time. But the reality is, we don't get younger. Yes, we should be working hard. Absolutely. Success comes from effort, hard work, dedication, persistence. But the key is, allocate your precious time to the work, to the things that make you feel like today is powerful. That right now is so amazing you don't want it to end. Today is when you take the first step towards the things you want. When you become who you want to become. No one is ever or will ever keep you from that other than yourself. There is no ceiling, there is no limitation, there is no special requirement. There is you and what you allow yourself to accomplish. You are the gatekeeper. You have your foot on the gas pedal. And it's so easy to point to others, right? To point to our environment, to blame things on everything. But our own decision, our decision to stick to the status quo. Because believe it or not, it is that simple. You are where you are because that's where you've decided to be. And you've accepted that as okay. Look, if you want change, then manufacture change. Create a plan and move, go, transform, step out of your head and into the real world. Think about how lucky we are to be alive in this day and age with access to all the information we could ever dream of, technology that enables growth, freedom to pursue any path that looks appealing, anything we could ever want is right in front of us, yet we don't embrace it. Why? Why in the world would we let that be? Nothing is more important in life than living it. Nothing makes us feel more energized, more free, more happy than following the path we were meant to take. It's having the courage to step over the obstacles, to face the challenges, to be uncomfortable. And at the beginning, it's tough, right? Change is tough. Getting what you want isn't easy. There's a period of struggle, of growth, but once you get through it, you understand what living really is. Which brings us right back to the concept of time, our small existence on this planet, the greatest gift a human being can receive. You, by default, have it. Don't ever let it be in vain. The future isn't when happiness someday occurs. It's a continuation of you living every moment to the fullest, from now until your last. Make every trip around the sun better than the previous. Never let a moment of sunshine, clouds, or rain deprive you of your gift. Be the best version of yourself you can be. Live the life you were meant to live. All it takes is a simple decision.
Stop whatever it is you're doing right now. Focus and block out whatever it is that has you distracted. Lock in and listen. Ultimately, your daily actions determine what your goals are. It's up to you to make sure your actions and goals know what their roles are. Meaning, you must self-assess and know where the holes are and execute towards your true passion, and soon you'll get that gold star. See, stars like you know that on the road to glory, there will be moments that will define your story. And this is one of those moments. Because at this very moment in time, you are ready to break. You're ready to break like a glass jar. You are ready to break like a speeding car. You're ready to break. But let me be the first to remind you that breaking is not who you are. Let me say that again. Breaking is not who you are. See, right now, my friend, it's simple. You are in the dark. And you know what I need you to do for me when you're in the dark, right? Turn the lights on when I'm talking to you, because you said your goal was to graduate. You said your goal was to make yourself, your parents, and your family proud. Those are your words, not mine. But you're in a bad place academically because your goals and actions don't align. Your most valuable commodity is time. Your most valuable asset is time. Your most precious gift is time. Your most important ally is time. But for no apparent rhyme or reason, you've decided to start wasting it. And now you're mentally exhausted and numb because that flavor of success, you're no longer tasting it. And all of a sudden you want to quit. All of a sudden you want to drop out. All of a sudden you want to give up. Hey, lock in and listen harder than you've ever listened before, because quitting is not an option. Dropping out is not an option. Giving up is not an option. The only option is for you to start living up to your potential. See, it's not coincidental that those who achieve at the highest level shake off them demons and devils, and channel their inner rebel to jab, stick, move, kick, grind, and never settle. Okay, I get it. I know. Right now you feel like the world's biggest loser. But this is the moment that I need you to transform and become the world's biggest chooser. Because I need you to choose to start digging. I need you to choose to start climbing. I need you to choose to start redefining. I need you to choose to start realigning and priming yourself for a major comeback. And you are falling into that woe is me syndrome. But I need you to detox and get that wine out of your system and change that woe is me syndrome into the oh it's me syndrome. Because yes, my friend, you are the problem. And so I need you to own and not rent that fact. The fact of the matter is, if you're being totally transparent, it's apparent that you're not maximizing your time. You are not in recycle mode because you continue to waste countless hours on meaningless time-wasting activities. I need you to take an hour, at least an hour. Sit your butt down, reevaluate, and that means self-assess. Look in that mirror and confess that you are not giving 1,000%. You are not putting every ounce of your heart and soul into it. And thus, you need a remedy. Now let's fix this. Your teacher or professor assigns the work. Your teacher or professor schedules the test. It's up to you to manage your study time so you can put your best foot forward. So when you're playing video games, when you're shopping at the mall, when you're at the party and the DJ is rocking, when you're surfing the internet at your leisure, when you're out with your friends grabbing a pizza, when you're browsing social media for hours hoping your likes are doubling, when you're chilling with your boo when you're cuddling, or doing a host of other things that don't involve studying or completing an assignment. That's what I mean when I say your actions and your goals are not in alignment. Because you wrote down graduate. And what's that? Facts. So now it's time for you to reenact this part of your movie by going all in on all things related to passing every class this semester. So replace the wasted time with study and watch how quick you become an excellent tester. Your academic stock will soar like an eagle when you become an intellectual time investor. This may require you for a short period of time to become a hangout with friends protester. Because you're so hungry to pass every class with flying colors, you understand you must eat and drink your subjects and become an official scholastic digester. And never forget, your daily actions determine what your goals are. It's up to you to make sure your actions and goals know what their roles are. Meaning you must self-assess and know where the holes are and execute toward your true passion, and soon you'll graduate and get that gold star, aka your diploma. So here's to you and the future success that awaits, and your testimony of going from almost flunking out to all smiles with your diploma when your class graduates. Got this, my friend. So keep pushing with purpose, focus, and determination. And never lose sight that you hold the key to your success. It just requires preparation, dedication, calculation, and internal motivation. Now throw your cap in the air and celebrate. This is a great day to win.
I'm not, the classic Silicon Valley CEO. I think that for me, I used to believe that meant that I could never really achieve what they achieved, that there were certain parts of the world, certain levels of success, certain levels of business that were just going to be too big for me. It's like, how could I dare say I'm going to run an energy company? Like that I'm going to build wealth for a community. Like who the hell am I? I made the mistake freshman year of college of going in and having no goals. Freshman year, I actually did horrible in class because I didn't know my goals of what I wanted to achieve academically. I let my body fall apart. I lost myself. And because of that, I realized that I'm the kind of person who needs to work to know herself and consistently keep track of who she is. In the end, it's about recognizing the value in our own struggle, being appreciative and aware of our privilege, so that we can have empathy for others and their experience. We can bridge the gap for them. And then being able to take all of that and own it. Say, this is who I am. This is who I am. Hello, to who you are and to who you are, that's great, but this is who the fuck I am. Take it or leave it. Like, I know that no matter what happens, if I stay who I am, I will feel good about it at the end of the day. The only thing that's going to be constant in this ever-changing world is who I am. I can hear the advice of a lot of different people and say, okay, thank you. This is what I want to do. And I'll stand by it. I will never blame someone for my decisions. No, it's my life. Conflict. Fight back. I'm saying this. Put together your thoughts logically and come back at me. Like, I want you to convince me that I'm wrong. Like, find the holes in my argument, find the gap in my thinking. It's like, here's my strategy, and I am prepared to do what it takes to stay alive. Like, what I tell my investors is, like, all you need to know is that I will be standing at the end of this match. That's it. And like, if I have to all of a sudden do an uppercut that I've never done, or like switch to southpaw out of nowhere, hey, I'll do what I have to do, because I'm gonna win this fight. In the end, say whatever you want to say about someone's fighting style. If they won, they won. Wanting very much to make sure that little girls who look like me believe that they can do anything, and believe that they can do more than just media and entertainment in particular, and believe in the value of their perspective. And so that's what gets me up in the morning. And then everything else, the details, is like, I can push through that day. And what I found is that instead of trying to live a successful life, if you aim to have a successful day, if you have 13 out of the 24 hours of your day, if you won those hours, you won the day. And if you win most of the days in a week, you won the week. We just need a simple majority here. If you win, most of the weeks in a month, there you go. Most of the months in a year, most of the years. And all of a sudden, look at that. Without even trying, you've been able to kind of get somewhere. When I say, I know who I am, I guess the unsaid portion, though, is like, and then for the things I don't know about myself, I'm open to finding out. And so I think the idea is to think about our lives as a constant research experiment. Who I thought I was and what I thought I wanted when I was 19 is to a certain extent similar, now, but there's also a lot of difference in the nuances and the details of the execution. And I think what it is that like we all have a core that like is our soul, that is our kind of ethos that we're born with, that's our ethical nature that we get from our families and our friends and like where we grew up, that, ideally and hopefully it's good. And I think that nugget, that's always unchanging, and you have to figure out who that is, what that is inside of you as soon as possible. And I've always been a very reflective person. I've always been someone who will ask myself, every 6 weeks or so, am I happy? And it's a really simple thing. It's just like, the answers are either yes or no. And if it's a no, it's like, okay, well, am I doing things that, while right now maybe I'm not like blissfully happy, are working towards something that I know will make me happy? You know what I mean? Like, and am I generally happy with the idea of the trade-offs that I'm making right now, or that I have to deal with? Does that make me happy? And if that's a yes, it's like, okay, cool. But if it's still a no, it's like, oh, stop everything. Nope, this doesn't make sense. But so with that, you come back, you're like, okay, I need a solution. And so I started doing the check-in, which I do it's more like you can sense, if you take some time to be quiet, you can sense when you're not in equilibrium. And then that's when you ask. That's it. Just running without taking a time to just know where you are, I mean, then there's probably going to be other symptoms when you're just overeating or overdoing this or not sleeping. Like, people will be able to tell you, yeah, you don't look balanced if you asked. I was able to stay who I am by being open to learning about who I am from those who had been working to figure out themselves as well. And I think it takes a certain sense of humility to be willing to listen to those people, but also I think it takes a certain sense of logic, I guess, and just like dynamic thinking to realize that what they're telling you is simply part of your full concept of yourself, not the all, not the total of it. And, it is your life, it is your unique perspective, it is who you are that has brought you here. So anyone who invests in you is going to want you to be who you are. They're going to have to trust that being who you are, even if it's different from who they are, that's going to be the thing that's going to take this to the next level, no matter what. And I think for me, that was the critical piece of advice, right? Like, we all need someone to say the thing that's been so obvious, but we've just been too head down to realize. We all have our struggle, regardless of who we are, whether you're male or female, black, orange, green, who cares? We all have our struggle. And we all have our privilege. I consider it a privilege to be born of Nigerian parents. Like, that to me is privilege, to have parents who believe in you irrationally so. I feel privileged to have gone to the schools I've gone to, right? But in the end, it's about recognizing the value in our own struggle, being appreciative and grateful for what you have and the life you have. You want to give back, you want to make the most out of it, and you want to make sure that on your last day you don't have regrets, because that to me is the only solution, to death, is accepting it. And so being 100% just focused on profit, in the end, if you have to look in the mirror, you have to be with just yourself when you close your eyes at night. If that completes you, dope. I mean, and again, I try not to be too prescriptive in what people, I can only speak for myself and what I understand in my limited number of years on this planet about life. But I don't think there's anyone who said on their deathbed, so glad I made that $1 billion. We live in a world that's so complicated that it's not enough to just say, oh, well, one of us succeeded or there's one example. Like, it's going to take so many different things happening to really shift the way we not only learn how to love each other, but learn how to love ourselves. The solution to the world's problems, because I truly believe that given how complex our problems are, there is no one person or company that's going to solve all of them. The only chance that we have is if as many people as possible are engaged and feel empowered to be part of that solution.
What if teachers realize that the most important thing they teach, they don't actually teach? I started teaching around about 20 years ago. And for me, it was very scary on that very first day. You ask any teacher, it could be the scariest day of their life. I had to walk through this long courtyard with hundreds of googly eyes just staring at me. That's the new science teacher. No, it's not. I like his tie. He looks strict. I heard he plays football professionally. Before I even met them, before I even opened my mouth, they had formed a perception of who I was or who I might be. This was taught to me by my very first mentor, an older gentleman, ironically about to retire. He pulled me aside one day and he said, "Greg, never walk around the school without a piece of paper in your hand." I was confused and thought, what on earth is this guy talking about? So he pulled me aside and sat me down and said that the piece of paper is to give the perception that you're busy, you're doing something important, and you're always up to something. Perception, my dear Gregory. It's all about perception. So how perceptive were you when you think back? I want you to think about your teachers. What do you remember about them? The good, the bad, or even your current teachers? When they stand before you, what is it that you absorb and observe? Is it their zest for life, their sense of humour, or is it their kindness, their tolerance, acceptance, and fairness? You see, none of the above is explicitly taught when you're obtaining an educational degree. They definitely weren't taught to me. So where did I get them from? From, educational hierarchy or experts or the curriculum? No. They were modeled to me by my role models, my teachers. I had some amazing teachers, and I've had some horrible ones too. But I could see them all there in front of me, every single one of them. The way they looked, the way they spoke, even the way they walked. But most importantly, I remember how they made me feel and how they inspired me. For example, my art teacher was a petite, scruffy, nail-biting, mumbling man. But he was an amazing artist, far too talented to be teaching at a secondary school. I used to remember running to his classes just to see what magic he would conjure up that day. I loved art, but I probably loved football more. So it was a surprise to me to see him on the football field during the teacher versus student game. He was fast, he was skillful, and I think he too played professionally when he was younger. You see, my art teacher reinforced to never judge a book by its cover, to be humble, and to be caring. My English and science teachers were actually a married couple. I adored them. She was a strong, intelligent, elegant lover of linguists. He was a relaxed, fun, well-groomed scientist. When it came time for them to start a family, they disappeared for a while on maternity and paternity leave, respectively. But only one of them came back. She came back. He stayed at home to look after their child. Now, this was 30 years ago at an all-boys school. That singular event taught me that gender roles shouldn't be locked or defined. Talking about families, we know how important families are to establishing the foundations to who we become. Our parents are able to create an identity for us as we grow. Now, this could only be, I guess, challenged, or there's only one entity or person that could come close to your family or to your parents. That's your teacher. A teacher spends a considerable amount of time with their students. On average, over 19,000 hours in a lifetime. Now that's plenty of time for a teacher to layer their students with their personalities. Likewise, that's plenty of time for the student to layer their own personalities with the positive things they see in their teachers, to accept those that are favourable, and hopefully to reject those less favourable. In the educational world, teachers act as parents. It's known as in loco parentis. Teachers are given the responsibility to act in the best interests of their students and to treat them like their own. I know I treat my students like my own. Always have, and always will. So the important thing about the relationship that is formed between a student and a teacher is an extremely amazing bond. We think about how important these bonds are. I remember a parent-teacher interview. I feel sorry for that child. His father was very angry that day. He wasn't doing well academically, and he wasn't doing well behaviourally in class. He turned around to his son and said, "When you're at home, I'm your father. But when you're at school, Mr. Schrozin's your father." I've never forgotten that day at all. We have a similar saying here in Armenia. When translated, it's your teacher is your second parent. Going back to the bonds that are formed between a teacher and a student, they are special. They are amazing. And it's something that only a teacher will ever feel. These bonds are created because there's a lot of patience, a lot of trust, a lot of kindness and care, and a lot of respect. They should not be taken for granted, and both parties need to put into this relationship, both teacher and student. Now, when these bonds are nourished and supported, society benefits also. You see, great teachers create great learners, and great learners, hopefully, become great citizens. No pressure, teachers. William Sarian, an Armenian-American novelist, once said, "Kids are always the only future the human race has." I've always believed wholeheartedly in that statement, and I'm sure a lot of other educators do too. So those who are in education, or those wanting to be educators, let us strive to have an impact and mould the future for the better, one student at a time. That's why I got into teaching, to have an influence and touch so many people's lives, and to make a difference in this world. If you are a student, I want you to look beyond your exams and your grades. Take the time to appreciate the teachers in front of you. Absorb as much as you can from them, because there is so much there that you could learn. Someone once told me that perception is a powerful tool. Students will learn more from you without even opening a book. Thank you.
I'm obsessed with the question. What makes a good teacher great? I've collected 26,000 responses to this question in 8 different schools, from the poor schools in Los Angeles to suburban schools in Texas to elite private schools abroad. And after 24 years of teaching students, I'm still perplexed by this question. Today, I'm going to teach you the lessons I learned from those thousands of students and learn what I found out from them if we just listen to students. The thing about it is that during my time of asking kids this question, I realized that we don't ask this question for a particular reason. Schools are afraid. Based on fear, they don't really want to know what kids think, partially because they don't think kids will take it serious. I'm going to share with you one of the most profound quotes, answers to this question that I ever received. Now, I know what you're thinking. Doesn't this prove my point? Great teachers eat apples. When I first saw this, I dismissed it as silliness. But it appeared again and again. So I thought there's got to be something to this. But what are they trying to tell me? So one day I decided I would start eating apples. I ate them in the morning, at lunch, during class, in the hall. Kids began to give me apples. They'd see me eating them and say, "You're eating an apple." I know. They would smile, and I would smile back. It wasn't until I understood that kids wanted to see me as somebody who was willing to receive a gift from them, that the apple was a symbol for our relationship. There was goodness in that and trust. But for a long time, I wasn't listening, and I hadn't understood this. They have their own language. When they say a great teacher is chill, what they really mean is don't take it too serious. Be calm in all situations. Don't get overwhelmed. They have a way of speaking to us about what they really want to tell us, but we have to listen, right? I'm the father of 2 grown kids. They're out of school now and in college. But when they were at home and they were teenagers, I had to learn a whole new language. When they would come home from school, I might ask them, "How was your day?" And they would say, "Fine." Which usually meant, it was not bad, it's pretty good. Nothing happened eventful. I probably learned something, maybe I didn't. But if they came home and said, "Fine," what they meant was, it wasn't really great, but don't ask me because you wouldn't understand anyways. If I asked them how their day was and they said, "Okay," what they were trying to tell me was that it wasn't good at all, and you should probably ask me more questions, but don't expect me to answer. Kids have their own language. They have their own way of thinking. They want us to think like them and understand what's inside of their head. They have so many ways of thinking that things are great. They want us to see the world inside of them. But they don't want us to act like them. They want us to be calm and protect them and keep them safe. Kids have a way of communicating, and adults just haven't spent the time listening. But what if we did? What if we really listened deeply to students? One of the things I noticed after all the years of collecting these responses is that there's patterns that emerge. When I asked the question, what makes a good teacher great? Oftentimes I heard, a great teacher loves to teach. 70% of the time, the quote or the answer that followed was, a great teacher loves to learn. The reason this is significant is they don't see this happening. They don't see teachers learning in front of them. They see them teaching, but they wish they would learn along with them. Think about it. Principals hire teachers to be content experts, to have all of the knowledge, not to be learners. But what if they did? What if you showed up in the classroom and the teacher had something prepared and said, I don't know exactly what we're going to do today, but I can't wait to learn with you. Or that they saw their teacher struggle through something they didn't actually know and then eventually discovered the answer. Kids want to be inspired by this idea that learning is important, but they don't see it in schools. When I saw this quote, "A great teacher isn't a teacher," I actually was a little bit offended. What do you mean? I'm a teacher. They're like, we know. What they were trying to tell me is, a great teacher isn't in the classroom. Think about it. Think about a time that you have some enduring understanding, a time when you learned something that you still remember and use to this day, like throwing a baseball or riding a bike. I remember learning to ride a bike from my mom when I was 5 years old. She took off the training wheels of my bike. She got behind me and began to push. And we ran until she finally let go and I began to ride a bike. That's what I did. That's how I learned to ride a bike. I can still ride a bike to this day from that moment. But can you imagine if I tried to learn a bike from my mom in a classroom? What it would look like? Son, first, you need to learn all the parts of a bike. There's pedals and a crank, and there's a chain that turns the wheel. You have to give significant force. Once the force has enough momentum and you can keep your balance, that's how a bike works. I want you to learn all the parts, be able to label them and draw them. Then you're going to learn and write a research paper about the history of bike riding. All the important elements, the adventure, the developments of bikes. And at the end of that, you're going to take a final examination. If you pass and get an A, you can ride a bike. At 5 years old, I think I would have said, never mind, I'll just walk. This is exactly what we do to children. We put them in a classroom and tell them, this is what I want you to learn. It's important, do it. And kids know that it's not true, that we don't really value learning this way. So no wonder they're disruptive or bored or disengaged. Kids want us to be teachers that aren't teachers. I want to tell you a story about Yvette. A great teacher understands that they have a life outside of school. They really do. They want us to know that their life in school is way more different than the life outside of school. I just thought, well, how hard is your life? Your job is to do school. My job is to teach. Yvette was a tough student. She was feisty, and she had an infamous reputation. She walked around with a jacket to prove it. Whenever she walked around, the kids would follow. She would come in and sit in the front row and lean just so she could make eye contact to intimidate me. She would call me Mr. and not even use my full name. When she'd get up to go to the bathroom, all the girls would follow. Eventually, I learned from Yvette what she needed to learn. And I thought I became pretty good at what I was doing. I noticed one day she stopped turning in her homework, which she had become a great leader in the classroom. She turned in her homework. She participated in class. She actually was quite good. So when this happened, I was surprised. So I went up to her and said, Yvette, I'm very disappointed in you. She said, I know, mister, I'm sorry. I expected and turned in tomorrow. Tomorrow came, and just a few sheets of unfinished work were turned in. I also went up to her and said, Yvette, this is disappointing. She said, I normally do my homework in the bathroom because it's the quietest place in my house. But this week, the electricity was turned off, and it's dark in there. I had a candle, but it burnt out, and I'm sorry. She gazed down, not her prideful self. I had missed the point. I had not listened when she said, I'm trying, mister. I heard the words, but I didn't listen. Great teachers notice when there's a struggle. They don't make assumptions about what kids can and cannot do. They wait and watch, and they rescue them when they're stuck. Good teachers hear them, but they don't listen. I'll never forget Yvette. I'm grateful because whenever I see an answer of a student like that, I remember her, and I listen. This was the most perplexing answer I think I ever received. It happened every year for 10 years. At least one student would put this. A great teacher sings. What are they talking about? I can't sing. So I started saying, wait a second. What do they mean? It wasn't until Danny turned it in as one of his responses. He was the class clown. You know, he was the one that when we took a class picture, he put your fingers behind your head. He would make faces at me during lectures so I would laugh. Everything was a joke to Danny. So when he turned in his responses, and they were all serious and actually really good, I was surprised when this showed up in the middle. But I knew there was something to it. I just didn't know what. So the next day, I put the agenda on the board, listing all the activities of the day, the expectations, and the homework. And instead of actually reading them, very seriously, I sang. In operatic style, big as I could. The eyes of the students were wide, their mouths dropped. But you know what happened? At the end of that, I expected pointing and laughing. But the classroom erupted in cheers and applause. There was a standing ovation. I could not believe it. At the end of class, they walked out, gave me high fives and handshakes, and here came Danny. He walked in, and he leaned in and patted me on the shoulder and said, I told you a great teacher sings. Great teachers make themselves humble before their students. They take risks. They put aside their fear to try. They trust that they're going to be supported if they fail. But they don't see this. They see experts, remember? Content experts. What if we hired teachers not to be deep understanding of content, knowledge keepers, but deep understanders of students? How our schools would change and transform. But it's no wonder students don't care, or that teachers don't really listen, because they've never been taught. But what if we did listen? You see, we spend 3 years of a student's life teaching students to read. About 12 years of those students' life teaching them to write. Maybe if they're lucky, they get a semester or half a year learning to public speak. But they get virtual 0 years of formal listening instruction. 0. Think about it. When was the last time you were at a dinner party and someone asked the question, so, what do you do for a living? And the response was, oh, I'm a listening teacher. I teach advanced listening at the high school, advanced listening communications, or beginning listener for elementary. We don't hear this because we just don't believe it in schools. It's important. Though in the world, listening is one of the #1 skills essential for business and life, and we just don't teach it. We need to listen to our students. In our classrooms are the future, the Maya Angelou's, the Mother Teresa's, the Elon Musks of the world. And can you imagine if we took the time to ask those students what would make a good teacher great? And then we actually listened. We could transform schools and education. Thank you.
Say thank you for grace. Thank you for mercy. Thank you for understanding. Thank you for wisdom. Thank you for parents. Thank you for love. Thank you for kindness. Thank you for humility. Thank you for peace. Thank you for prosperity. Say thank you in advance for what's already yours. It's how I live my life. That's why I am, one of the reasons why I am today. Say thank you in advance for what is already yours.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for this day. Thank you for every moment that led to this day. Thank you for the hard times. They made me appreciate the good times. Thank you for the lessons. They were needed for my development. Thank you for my eyes that get to witness the miracles of today and tomorrow. Thank you for everything I take for granted. Thank you for all of my blessings. Thank you for my drive. Thank you for my spirit. Thank you for my strength. Thank you for giving me the courage to fight through the hard times. Thank you for the people in my life, those I love and those I learn from. Thank you for it all. Thank you. Thank you. It's the key that opens the door to instant happiness, unlocks the door to everything we are really seeking in life, happiness and contentment. Think about it. No matter what you say you want, money, riches, health, to help others, why do you really want it? When you drill deep down, the only reason anyone wants anything is the feeling we believe we will get from having it. That all boils down to happiness and contentment. And the truth is, we can have it now if we are grateful. And if you get quiet, get away from the noise of the world, and think for a moment about what you could be grateful for, I'm sure you could find plenty. Be grateful there's food on the table, air in your lungs, life in your body. Get grateful that you have opportunity to take your life to a whole nother level, to decide right now that you are going to live your dreams and never settle until you do. Get grateful for the mental strength you've been given to survive the hard times. Get grateful for your limbs if you have them. Many are not so blessed. Your eyesight if you have it. Many are not so blessed. Your hearing if you have it. Many are not so blessed. The health you do have, many are in worse positions. Get grateful for that one person that has had an impact in your life, or many people if you are so blessed. Then get grateful you can choose to be that person for someone else. That one that makes a difference in someone else's life, no matter how small. Get grateful you get to experience this magical universe. Today, look for miracles. I guarantee if you are looking, you will see them. There are unlimited things to be grateful for. Open your eyes. Unlock your amazing life. It's ready for you right now.
Thank you for this day, whatever it brings. Whether a challenge I need to grow, a lineup to teach me patience, an unexpected blessing, every moment of joy, whatever today brings, thank you. Whatever it brings, I pray I have enough presence in each moment to know that no circumstance is my life. No high or low, no event, no thing is my life. Life is energy, and I know I'm so much more than my physical body. Thank you for my ability to love, to give to others my authentic love and kindness without expecting anything in return. Thank you for my strength. Thank you for my presence. Thank you for my ability to attract only the things and people that are in harmony with what I need in my life. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.